Howdy everyone, hope everyone's good. I just wanted to give a quick little disclaimer. I finished this episode around 3 months ago, so if I made any references to any things what are outdated, that's why. I don't think I did, but I think it's just worth letting you know that I messed up. I'm sorry I didn't release this sooner. Hope it was worth the wait. If not, feel free to bash me in the comments, or if it was worth the wait, feel free to compliment me. Do whatever you want. It's a free world. Yay. Anyway, enjoy the show. Howdy folks, and welcome back to Making a Sidlemon region, my take on making a Fakemon region, which is a fan's take on making a Pokemon region. I feel like there's an easier way to say that, but still, these last few months, we've been remaking the original 3 Sidlemon starters, Cuptis the Cactus, Confuzzle the, fish thing, and now we're going to be doing the Fire starter, Pypup the Fire Hedgehog. Between you and me, this was the Sidlemon I was most kind of excited, or at least interested in redesigning. It was a Sidlemon that personally I really didn't like. Not Pypup itself, but more so its evolutions. I feel like they just looked weird, and yeah, some people agreed with me, rightfully so, it's an opinion obviously. But I was surprised to know that a lot of people actually liked the Pypup line, which was really interesting. Back when I started this, Sidlemon series, I basically spent just a day making the video, and that would include me basically rushing out the sprite work, me recording it, and then slapping it all together in a video. That whole process basically took like a day. So these designs didn't really have much time to be made, and I'm pretty sure even rewatching the video, you could tell that I had a hard time designing this. I didn't design it so much as I drew it as I went along. And to be fair, it worked with the previous 2 starters, and most of the other side one, to be fair. But these ones, something just didn't work out, you know? At least in my eyes. But we'll get to that when we get to that. First, we need to start with the first form, Pypup. If you've seen my previous 2 episodes, you'll know that designing these 3 starters, there wasn't really a core to build around. I had the story ideas for them, but the actual designs themselves, I just drew shapes and drew lines around those shapes until eventually a creature was formed. It can be a nice way to design creatures, but I feel like for Sidlemon and Fakemon and starters in general, it's not the best way to create a strong concept, because there's no concept there, you're just drawing shapes of faces. But either way, it's what I did. I'm not a professional. Welcome to the channel. I believe the idea for Pypup literally came from me really liking how I drew some squiggly lines, and then how I made a fireball out of those squiggly lines, and then I drew 2 feet popping out, and then I tried to draw a face. It's a very weirdly shaped face when you think about it, but yeah, the design literally just came from that. So, not really a strong basis, you know. I didn't go in designing a hedgehog specifically, it was just a literal ball of fire. I gave legs and a face, what resembled a hedgehog, so a hedgehog it became. Plus the idea of like a quilled animal replacing its spikes with like an element like fire is a cool idea. It's literally what Cyndaquil is, you know? And then the name came from that, simply. Pup, meaning baby hedgehog, and Pyra, like pyro, fire, you know? Pypup. Plus, I kind of like the idea of it maybe having like an anger problem or something. So like, it's known to pipe up, get angry easily, you know? I thought that was kind of cute. And then we get into the story of Pypup. The theme what ties these 3 starters together is the story they live out, the idea of them growing up with a certain problem in their life, and then them overcoming their problems and realizing, you know, embracing their differences and themselves and all that cliche but really good lessons, you know. The idea for Pypup's story came from the idea that, a common trope in the Pokemon anime especially, that the fire starters just get like really a bad rap. Like Ash's Charizard, you know, the idea of how Ash got that was because its previous trainer just like abused it and like literally left a Charmander out in the rain, knowing that if its fire went out it would die. So yay, you know. And then the black and white anime, which was, I feel mostly because it was meant to be like a retelling of the first gen. Again, Ash's Tepig, I'm pretty sure, was also abused by its original trainer and just like left and abandoned before Ash found it. And once again, in the Sun and Moon anime, Litten, it's not 100% sure what his backstory was, but it's very heavily implied it was incredibly upsetting. So the Pokemon anime just really loves that fire starter sob story, doesn't it? And that's what we get to give to Pypup now. I'm a terrible person. Let's start with Hedgehog Bowling. It's still canon. Pipe-up bowling is meant to be an out-of-battle mini-game, if you will, in this Seidel region. Think of like backstreet chicken fights, how they're not really legal or ethical, it's just people still do them for fun. People, breed pipe-ups and pick them up by their legs and just throw them down like a bowling ball, which causes them to spin like a fireball into, like bricks or something, I don't know. Fireproof pins, probably. This is obviously terrible if you're a pipe-up because you're getting spun, you're getting thrown about into hard objects, it's very abusive, trainers very rarely look after them, they're kept in cages, tiny cages. It's a terrible life to be. In fact, the in-universe reason pipe-ups are meant to be starters is just because, about 2 years ago, we had a massive regional crackdown on pipe-up bowling, but now we just have thousands of pipe-ups taken from abusive care, and now we have nowhere else to put them, so they've been dedicated as fire-type starters. All 3 starters have an in-universe reason for actually being starters. It was just a little thing I kind of enjoyed, but either way. So the idea of pipe-up is that they're meant to be a difficult starter to raise. They're not... kind of how in Gen 1, how Charmander was the hard mode and Professor Oak was oh, this one's tough to raise, it's kind of like that, but literally. In fact, I kind of like the idea of some trainers pick Pipe-Up because it looks so cool, but then a few weeks later actually return it to the Professor because they just struggle to raise it. And the idea is you as the player, when you're given these 3 starters, you're actually told that this Pipe-Up's been chosen previously but returned. So, it's a bit of lore. Trying to guilt chip you into picking the fire type, but video game, not real. So you don't feel bad or anything. I'll also just go back to talking about its actual design and drawing. After learning about last episode, I really struggled drawing the Confuzzle line because I was trying to specifically replicate the pixel art in this new art style when they didn't really blend well. So a big thing of remaking Pipe-Up was giving it a unique pose to itself, or isn't just copying the pixel art. So I used a different reference. Instead of using the pixel art for Pipe-Up, I reused a previous drawing I did of Pipe-Up, and I think the result ended up looking a lot better and gives Pipe-Up a bit more, pose. The evolutions, I changed them a lot anyway, just because I wanted to, but also I didn't just remake the poses. Chances are I'm probably actually gonna go back to the Confuzzle line and remake them with more unique poses at some point anyway. I just thought it was worth mentioning. Either way. This is the new and improved Firestarter Pipe-Up. Sad backstory and everything intact. And already I really like its improvement. I think Pipe-Up, out of the 3 pixel art starters, was already one of the strongest designs in the sense of just being cute, mostly because it's actually an animal, not a mixture of animals or a cactus pole. But yeah, I think, it's got a pose, it's got personality, it's great, I love it. And, hello little fella.
Oh, Seidel, have you seen... Ah, there you are. Come on, you. It's time for Din Din.
Did somebody say Din Din?
Yeah, we have one of those living with us now. It just kind of appeared in the night out of nowhere, apparently. Very weird. I don't entirely trust it. But either way, we've redesigned Pipe-Up. Now let's redesign its evolution, Discane. And already, this is a mon I really wanted to change. Looking at the original pixel art, it's weird that the hair goes behind the weird eye bulges on its head. Its head is weird to begin with, right? With Pipe-Up, it's kind of cute, but here it just looks a bit out of place. It doesn't have a specific nose or mouth. It doesn't have a neck, first of all. It just kind of is on a ball. Its legs are they look slappy. They don't have any structure to them. Its arms don't have any structure to them. They are just bendy. He's got pockets in his legs, I guess. What? I kind of like the fiery jacket idea, I guess, but the execution, it's just a little bit weird, personally. And the colours just look a little bit weird. The biggest problem with my art style, and it doesn't really get fixed in this redesign, it's just a thing I have with my art style in general. I typically use a lot of thick outlines, and whenever I do, it kind of flattens the image in a way, right? It's hard to make my characters or drawings look 3-dimensional, right? Which is fine, it's not a thing I have a problem with. I like creating specifically cartoony characters, I like investing myself in this world where it shouldn't really need to exist, it's just a fantasy cartoon place, right? However, when designing a character based around fire, drawing it this way doesn't make it look like Like, it doesn't look like real fire, does it? It looks more like the fake, wavy, plasticky fire you would have over a fan or something, if that makes sense. Especially in the pixel art where there's outlines literally separating the parts of the fire, it looks more like actual, like, tentacles or something growing out of his spine than actual fire. Plus, the pose. It's just, he's just standing there, like, the point of Discane, we'll get to his story soon, but the point of him is that, you know, he doesn't care, he's got a very angsty attitude, but just, like, he looks like he's waiting at a bus stop or something, you know, it looks weird, he looks way too wide, he's meant to be, like, almost lanky in a way, yet he looks fat, I'm just gonna be frank about it, and, it's just weird, you know? And to be fair, I didn't need to change that much in the redesign. I'm sure you're seeing it right now. The first thing I did was give structure to his arms and legs. I added shoulders. I know, insane, right? You can tell I've grown up since the original video. I kept his arms out of made-up random knee pockets, I guess, and actually gave him little, you know, claws and nubs. You know, I thought that was kind of adds a bit more personality in his pose as well. And I kept his legs, like his feet, without any claws or things, just because, again, I'm not really good at drawing claws on feet per se, and I think the design doesn't necessarily need it, because Pypup didn't have it either, so this is meant to just be a, you know, it's not meant to literally be a hedgehog so much as it is just like the idea of a vague hedgehog, right? Then I gave it more of a pose, the idea of him being this angsty, you know, goes to bed at like 4 in the morning, wakes up at 2:30, kind of groggy, doesn't care about anything, you know, he almost looks like a zombie in a way, especially with both of his arms out, you know. I made his hair actually go through the weird nubs on his head, you know. I kept the face thing because it's what Pypup is, you know. It doesn't have a nose or a mouth. I was considering giving it, but I wasn't really sure. It didn't look right, and I didn't really know how I could change it in a way, you know. So I kept it, it looks fine, right? And I gave him a neck. Oh my god, finally, I gave him a neck! Imagine, the way I tried to design its body was, imagine like a water balloon. That's its body in the way of it. It's got like a kind of a thin neck, what just slumps down into like a circular body, you know. I think it looks alright. It doesn't look necessarily overweight like the first one I did. It was meant to look stocky because, you know, hedgehogs are meant to be like round and things, without it necessarily looking unhealthy. But anyway, we've spoken enough about this design. We get it. I used to hate the original, whatever. I'm very critical of my own work. What else is new? I'm not an artist, blah blah blah. Story time! So obviously Pypup has a pretty hard set in life, right? They're either bred and abused for sport. Trainers don't typically raise them very well, and if at all, they end up just returning them back to the professor and give up on them. They're used to they struggle making structured bonds with trainer figures because, well, there's no trainer to, you know, be there for them, you know. So you get a child with not the nicest lot in life. They grow up into an edgy teenager. Oh yeah. Break out the eyeshadow and Panic at the Disco and leather jeans. We're going emo. Obviously, growing up, you know, becoming a teenager or whatever, is mostly about finding out who you are, which is why a lot of people go through these, like, you know, edgy phases. I know I did. You know, you're trying to find out what you like. You want to find out who you are, and some people try out all these edgy things because maybe that's who they are. Plus, becoming very, I want to say depressed without, you know, literally saying this hedgehog is depressed, but it's a very common thing in teenagers to just be very one emotion. It's very easy to just be sad or jaded or edgy, because when you're a teenager, everything sucks, the world hates you, and you hate the world. You know, preach out to all my fellow adults who are no longer teenagers, and if you're still a kid who's not a teenager yet, good heckin' luck. Teenager's an awful time. Everybody knows that. And the same thing's for Discane, you know? Especially with, obviously, without sounding too real or, you know, getting too personal or anything, growing up without a structured trainer to, you know, raise you or train you, and structured, healthy environments growing up, it's very easy to fall down this dark rabbit hole when you become a teenager, because you're trying to grasp out and find out who you are, and yet you've never had anybody to help point you in any direction to begin with, you know? I won't go much further, because obviously sometimes it can be a bit personal to go into topics like this, so we'll just leave that and move on. But yeah, Discane's, the idea of Discane is that, you know, I guess they dye their fire hair into, you know, different colours to be unique and stand out, which ironically is what makes them all the same. Which is just a bit of meta commentary on how you know, a lot of emos and goths and just edgy teenagers in general are meant to be, you know, I'm so different and unique, when in doing that, they kind of become the Buzz Lightyear meme where there's just 1,000 of them trying to be quote-unquote unique, which is all just the same. I was one of them. I'm allowed to make fun of it. Either way. I also like the idea that one of Discane's moves is, it'll be something like a head swing, and the idea is, since he's got long, like, fiery hair, imagine how, like, rock guitarists or something like you know, swing their hair back and forth, swinging their long, greasy hair back and forth. Discane kind of does that and mimics playing a guitar while swinging his head back and forth, which lashes his fire back and forth and becomes like a fire whip. Does that even make sense? I thought that was a cool idea. Either way, this is Discane, a mix between disdain, so, you know, hate, you know, he's an edgy hedgehog, and Erinishini. I thought it was like Erinakani or something. The scientific name for hedgehogs. It's not like perfectly made it, but it takes a few letters from it, so it's Discane. I thought it was cool, whatever, you know. So we have the sad but optimistic child, the grunged up, so over it emo teenager. Let's grow him up a little bit, shall we? Since I take like 2 months between these videos, sorry about that. It's hard. You might not remember, but the point of these style starters is, you know, the idea of the actual starters in mainline Pokemon games is these are meant to be your badges of honor of, you know, playing through the game and training your starter and, you know, growing your team up, right? Well, the point of these starters is that they're meant to be their own badges of honor. These are meant to be the idea of they've grown up through their hardships and it's made them who they are, and they are proud to be who they are, right? They're meant to be, you know, all wholesome and cutesy and kind of cheesy, but, you know, that's kind of a running theme between all my characters when you know, you'll soon learn that. And that's what Dredgehog's meant to be. Dredgehog is the name of the third evolution. It's meant to be a mix of dread, grunge, so dredge, and hedgehog, so Dredgehog. And all of Dredgehog's life, you know, it was abused as a child and neglected, and then, you know, he thought no one else understood him as a teenager, to the point where he didn't even understand him, you know? He had so many emotions and thoughts, and he had no one he could trust to tell them, so he kept his ideas down, he booked them up, to the point where he learnt to tell his stories and ideas in the forms of songs and music. So not literally singing, he can't speak English or anything, but he can now play music. It's how he expresses himself, which is what the name is, Dredgehog. He's meant to be an electric guitarist for like a rock band or something. And, you know, he uses all of his songs to, you know, just spread the word to all the other Pypups out there to, you know, keep fighting the fight, you know, believe in yourself, as cheesy as it is. You know, like, he's there to all the, you know, neglected Sidalon out there, you know, I've been in your shoes, I lived through the pain, and now look at me, I've finally become something that I'm myself proud of. I don't need to make others proud anymore, I'm just proud of myself, and you can do the same. You just gotta keep fighting, you know? You know, like, and the idea is that he's meant to be a lot more older and mature, to the point where he's not literally meant to be an emo or a goth. He doesn't have the crazy hair anymore, because, again, he's matured, maybe a little bit balding, you know? And it's the idea that, you know, even like rock artists who sing all about death and screaming and whatever, I'm sure off stage they're actually very understandable and very, you know, kind. And although, you know, his music can be a bit more, you know, edgier and rock filled, you know, it's still got a nice message, you know? And that's what Dredgehog is. A rocky, almost scary, like 6 foot electrical fired up hedgehog, but he's still got a nice message. And design wise, I love how this one turned out. The original Dredgehog, I had to draw like 7 different times because I could not pinpoint, I couldn't make it look good because he's got a very round, bulbous body and the head. It was hard connecting them together in a way what looked like it could be an anatomically corrected animal, you know, without it looking too flat because of the pixel art, or too fat, or too skinny. It didn't look right, I couldn't do it, it was very bizarre, and I think the final pixel art design suffers from that. Again, it's like the Discane, it's got no structure in its arms and legs, its feet are just circles, its arms are very bendy and circular, it doesn't look like he's got bones, and like, yeah, he's got a neck, but it doesn't feel like a natural protruding out into a body kind of thing. it looks very bizarre to me. And again, it looks a lot wider than I think I intended it to do. Honestly, it was my least favourite Sidemon for a long time, and it honestly surprised me that last episode when I mentioned remaking the Firestarter, I was expecting a lot of people to be like, ugh, finally, you need to fix Dredgehog. But turns out a lot of people actually liked Dredgehog, or at least the Fire line in general, which surprised me, but still. I definitely do like Dredgehog as a concept. I just felt that my skills creating Dredgehog, I wasn't really ready to take it on. As a slightly older person though, I really like how this one turned out. Again, I gave bone structure to his arms and legs, imagine. I kept his feet still circular and nubby, but I didn't give really weird fat leg bones. I tried to make it look like almost like a rabbit legs or something. It was very bizarre. I don't know what I was thinking. My original problem with the Dredgehog and Discane was that maybe I made them too humanoid, like they stand up on their hind legs or whatever. So when designing Discane, it's why I made him so bend over and more close to the ground. I wanted to make it look more almost as if they still could use 4 legs naturally. And although the same is for Dredgehog, the artwork actually shows him standing up more upright, and I think that looks even greater. He's got thicker, stronger legs, he's got a better pose, a better body, which again is meant to be like the water balloon where it's the neck slumps down into its, jelly-filled body, I guess, It doesn't give off the impression of overweightness, it gives the impression of sturdy and strong and dependable, which is what a starter should be. And I do still like the idea that it naturally kind of slouches, and since he's got really long arms, that was on purpose. The idea is that he almost, if he kneels down a bit, he can almost be like a gorilla with his two front arms kind of, bending and knuckling down in front of him, and he can be on all fours. And he can still crawl around on all fours like a hedgehog. He just likes to play standing up. And how does he play, you might ask? Well, he has fiery fingertips, let's say. He can, imagine, these are elemental crazy monsters. Some of them can, create fire from their hands. Dredgehog can create these. When he twizzles his fingers together, he can create these fiery strings. Connect his hands together in a way, right? So he's got both his hands and 3 fiery strings connecting his main fingers together. And when he twangs them with his thumb and with his 2 thumbs, they can create fiery musical notes between these fiery strings. And when he twangs them hard enough, he can shoot those fiery notes out as attacks. Does that even make the slightest bit of sense? I hope it does. Just imagine those fiery strings in the artwork. He can twang them to create electrically fired up musical notes and shoot them out as music or attacks. And, he can then clap his hand and the fire goes away. So it's kind of cool. But either way, this is Dredgehog, the final stage of the Pypup line. After growing up through its hardships and self-denial and self-worth, it grows up to be a proud, confident message to all the other Sidlemen out there to never give up on yourself. You will love yourself one day. Beautiful, I'm so proud of it. Especially compared to the original, I'm really happy how these guys turned out. You'll all have to let me know what you think. Do you prefer the original pixel art, or do you like these new ones? I hope you like the new ones, else I wouldn't know what to do with myself, and... Oh, hello again.
Come on, you. Why do you keep going in this room?
Yeah, she definitely has a weird attraction to this room. I mean, isn't this meant to be where she first appeared?
Yeah, this is literally your bedroom. I'm surprised it didn't wake you up.
Yeah. But anyway, Tui, what do you think of this? You know how I feel about, my artwork, so, there's a bit of feedback, it's always appreciated.
Why am I always the one who has to give emotional support? I hate support.
Yeah, we know. You literally throw out Green's bras. She has to hide them away now.
Yup, and I will happily do it again.
No, you are not. You're not the one who has to buy new ones.
Just let the broad go out and buy her own then.
Oh yeah, sure, let's just let a person literally stained green out into the open. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be fine.
I'm sure it'd be fine if it was on Green Day or something.
Look, either way, support implies structure, and structure means weakness.
That's literally the opposite of what structure means!
Here we work.
No, I'm not even doing this here. Everyone get out, I'm finishing the video now.
Come on, Fuzzle.
Aw, you named it?
Yeah, of course I named it.
Looks like Tui's got a heart after all.
Oh, shut up.
Jeez Louise. But either way, folks, this was the Firestarter and all the other starters. I hope you liked them. We're not going to get a Sidlemon video for a while, I'm going to be honest. That's just because at the moment we have over 100 Sidlemon still in the pixel art style. So I'm going to go back and remake all of them. I'm not going to make I'm not going to make 100 episodes just remaking all the previous ones. I'm going to remake all the designs in my own time and then make just like 3 videos showing off like 30 mons per episode. None of the speed art, just the designs and their inspirations, what they're based on, and where they appear in the region, and show more off of the region, and maybe actually finally give the region a name. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? I do have a bunch of other videos planned to keep us, tied over until we get to Sidlemon. They're not going to be replacing Sidlemon or anything, this is just until I get to making 100 Sidlemon, so it's going to take a while. But we have a bunch of new videos coming up soon, so I hope you're excited for that, and if not, well, it was nice knowing you. But until then, folks, enjoy the rest of your day, or if you're off to bed, have the sweetest of dreams, and I'll see you all in a bit. Toodaloo,